Good morning. Good morning, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Gonna let everyone come on in. Come on in. Good morning. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If this is your first time, definitely let me know so I can give you a shout out. While you guys are joining, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer and I represent clients all over the US with their family immigration or humanitarian based cases. Regardless of your location, I can assist you. We have our main offices in Atlanta, and then we've got an office in Florida. But again, it doesn't really matter. We represent clients all over. Hi, Shintoy from New York. No time from Houston. Odna, hello. Shari from Atlanta. Afalabi, good morning. Myron, good morning. No time, good morning. Good morning, Calvia. SSRC, you said you need to talk to me. Call 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751 to schedule a consultation. Today is really just freestyling it. If you have questions, just jump right into it and ask me your questions. I can't, Suke James Jama Heskuma, good morning. Cardine from Fort Lauderdale, good morning. Chimba Langarania from Indiana. Good morning, Quinn K from New York. Your first time, hey. Thanks for tuning in. What part of New York? I used to live in Brooklyn and also Queens. Lexi from Atlanta, New Jersey, Jamaican born. First time, welcome. Emmanuel from California, first time, welcome. So many first timers today. Precious on YouTube, good morning. Cleopatra says, good morning, my favorite attorney. Good morning from YouTube. And Grace, good morning. All right, let me see what questions you guys have. Someone says, Nekedu is your brother from Nigeria. Good morning. Yes, I'm Igbo and I speak and understand Igbo. People ask me all the time. I speak and understand Igbo. I mean, maybe my Igbo is not good enough for some, but as far as I know, I speak Igbo. Someone says, first time here, question, how long does it take to get a green card replacement? It takes a really long time, but you can get one stamped on your passport. So typically which is actually ridiculous. So like if let's say you lost your green card and you file for a replacement, it can take you a year or even more, which is absolutely ridiculous. But while you're waiting for the actual card, they can actually stamp it on your passport. So you can get that stamped on your passport once you file for a replacement. Okay. Walisha, this is your first time. Good morning. And Andre from Jamaica, good morning. Chicago, watching from the Boogie Down. Good morning. Good morning from Georgia. Lots of Georgians today. Someone says, if you're placed before immigration court, can you get approved without a trial? Well, the question is just too broad for me to answer because I don't know what you're placed before immigration court for. Is this a marriage? Like, what happened? Like, do you have something to plead? So all those make a difference. It just really depends on what it is. Sometimes if you're like in a removal proceeding and let's say there's something else that you end up qualifying for, then you can generally do ask for prosecutorial discretion, where we basically ask for opposing counsel, that's the government, basically to do a joint motion with us to dismiss your case because maybe there's something else that you qualify for, you have already qualified for. So the answer really depends on your specific circumstance, and what's going on with you. Chosen Vessel on YouTube says, good morning, I have a question. If my mom used to legally come to the US to work, she has a social security, her last time here was 2007, and she didn't come back since, how can she get back here? Well, I mean, I don't know why your mom hasn't come back since, but the first question is, who can petition for her? So you yourself asking the question, Are you a U.S. citizen? Does she have any children that are U.S. citizens and over the age of 21? If she does, then any of them can petition for her if they're over the age of 21. And they have to meet the income requirements. If they don't meet the income requirements, then they can find secondary sponsor to do a joint sponsorship. And that person has to be a U.S. citizen or a 10-year green card holder. Okay. Katie says, good morning. Can you speak on some question asked at VAWA-based interview for green card and what documents to bring to the interview, please and thank you? Okay, good question. So if you are in the stage, it's great because it means that you've been approved for your VAWA application and now you're moving on to the green card portion. So typically when you submit a VAWA application with an adjustment of status, there are two approval processes. One is first for them to approve VAWA, and then the second one is for you to attend a green card interview. Sometimes there will be no interview, they'll bypass the interview, but other times there's an interview. Typically, their focus is on your I-485, okay? So the focus is on everything that you answered in your I-485. They're looking at things that basically make you inadmissible to the United States. So i.e., if they determined that, let's say you got divorced from your previous spouse and then you went ahead and remarried while your case was pending, those are things that could cause you to be denied. They're looking at if you've currently divorced or previous divorces, they want to see all your marriage history. So they want to see all those divorce certificates, from any of those previous divorce. Dates are very important. They always ask dates. They want to know the last 5-year address history. So it's really important that, the addresses and the dates which you lived there. They're also looking at updates, like have you changed your address? Sometimes they'll ask you, who do you live with currently? They also ask questions about where you work, what do you do for work? But that's where a lot of the focus is on, any criminal stuff, or any false claims to citizenship. That's typically what it is. What might get some people is if maybe they lied about something and then when they get to that stage, it's basically brought to light whatever they lied about, like in their initial application or omitted, that might be what causes an issue. But honestly, if you have a very straightforward case, you didn't lie about anything and you submitted your stuff, this should be a very, very easy interview. They're really not supposed to be asking you on the abuse because they've already adjudicated, and adjudicate just means they've already made a decision, on the abuse. So they really shouldn't be asking you about that. The only questions that they really should be asking you, if they're asking about your previous spouses, are you guys still married or are you guys still living together? I mean, it's not really their business whether you're still living together or not living together, because, a lot of times people can stay with their abusers due to fear, even if they've gotten that paper. But the most important thing is that you have the right paperwork for whatever status that you're in. Oh, yeah. And then it's always important to also take an original certified copy of your birth certificate. Very important. Alicia says, good morning, Ms. Shida, looking beautiful as usual. Thank you so much. Okay, let me see what other questions here. Jamal, good morning from Florida. Lots of people from Bronx. Where are you located? I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, but we represent clients all over the U.S. Adna says, good morning from Miami. Good morning. Okay. Smirtzy says, try to book a consultation, but said you were booked till July. Unfortunately, if it's really hard. Like, if whenever people complain about like the appointments, I always think, do you guys want me to cancel the other people, like to put you in there? Like, I promise that it'll be worth the wait if you can wait for an appointment. I'm only one person. There are only 24 hours in a day, apart from, consultations, I actually work. I have to work. I mean, consultations is definitely work, but I also have to do some work. I'm a mother, I'm a wife. And so, I have to go pick up my children, or, my kids have to see me. So, unfortunately, my schedule gets booked out, but we have two other wonderful attorneys here at the firm who you can do a consult with. I've always said this, it doesn't really matter which one of us you do a consultation with. You're going to get sound legal advice from any of us. We work together as a team at this firm. all of us together, everybody. So you're getting the effects of our firm. It doesn't matter who you consult with. So hopefully you can still book, if not with me, with either Attorney Chitter or Attorney Jordan. And someone asked, can you get married on a visitor's visa? This is a very good question. So this is what I would say. You cannot come here with the intention to get married on a visitor's visa. However, if you are here and you decide to get married, nobody's stopping you from getting married. But you cannot have the intention to come here to marry on that visitor's visa, because you can subject yourself to a misrepresentation claim or issue, and then you're dealing with, waivers, or you might not have a qualifying relative or whatever. But if you do come here, which a lot of people do, that's what a lot of marriage-based cases are about, and you meet somebody, or maybe you were already dating, and this time you decided to get married and stay here and file your adjustment of status, you can. There are also some people who get married and they continue to do the long distance. They keep going back and forth, maybe because they can't leave their job or whatever the case may be. So you have both options. With no status yet, can one fly from Georgia with a driver's license only from New Jersey? I'm very hesitant to recommend anyone flying without any kind of status or any kind of documentation pending, just because, I personally have been on local flights, especially when, my family lived in Florida, where we would see, Customs and Border, on the plane, on the thing to get to the plane. And they will randomly just ask people to show them identification. So, at least have like your EAD and travel permit, which acts as your pending status, and, the identification that you have a status pending. So I'm hesitant to say fly. I know driving from Jersey to Florida is not necessarily ideal because it's really far. But if you can do that, I would say do that instead. Boss Lady says, if your vow is approved and now they send you to do a medical, is that it? Without saying, I can't ever say 100%, but most likely, you have a good chance that your case is going to be approved without an interview once you send your medical. Congrats if that's what's going on with you. Ozidi says, good morning. I had a consultation with you last year. I'm ready to proceed. I contacted your office, and Phillips, you're probably talking about Felipe, asked me for a new consultation, and the email has a different law firm name. It's a legit. There's no way my email can have a different law firm name, but Felipe works for us, and Felipe is correct. If you consulted with us a year ago and you're ready to start your case, we most likely need another consultation, because immigration rules change, your personal circumstance changed, and we have to do our due diligence to make sure that whatever you qualified for last year, you still qualify. I mean, I don't know when you came last year. 12 months have passed, and I can tell you that several immigration laws have changed, because that's just the nature of immigration. So, you can definitely schedule a consultation. Felipe definitely works for us. So I'm not really sure what email, but it should, all emails from this law firm should end with @Chidolwe Law. If it ends with @Chidolwe Law, it is our firm. So I don't know whose email. Maybe he gave you his email, or you got a contact @Chidolwe Law, but that's our email. Okay. So Stephanie says, I'm planning to file my vow with you. Do I need to gather my affidavit from friends and family before I come to see you to file my case? I'll wait till come to see me. You should do it. You should be doing that after you've hired us, just so that we can give you some guidance of what is needed. Like a lot of times people say, I want to first try to compile all those things, I'm trying to decide whether I hire. I always say no. Like, the whole point of you hiring a lawyer is to take away legal guesswork from you. So when you hire us, we have our systems and tools, of what's needed to guide you as to what's needed, so that you can make sure that you're doing it correctly. Because imagine if you have your friends and family write this affidavit, and then you hire us and you say, oh, my friends and family wrote an affidavit, and we look at it, we're like, we're not using this affidavit, it's not good. or it's not descriptive of not enough, or it doesn't show enough, because there's an art to affidavit writing. Someone can just say, oh yeah, I know Stephanie and her husband, we went to their wedding, they were a wonderful couple, and all of a sudden he became abusive. I'm just using that as an example. Like, there has to be some detail to it, and what USCIS is typically looking for, and usually we give that guidance once someone hires us and becomes our client. So Clayco on Facebook says, good morning. My spouse and I did an interview, marriage-based. Officer says a decision will be made soon, and it's over 60 days now. The I-130 changed from active review to cancellation of request for evidence, but we didn't get an RFE. Since the interview, the I-485 is actively reviewing what can cause the issue. Right now, there is no issue. Typically, USCIS can take anywhere from 90 days to even 6 months to make a decision on your case. So if they've canceled your RFE request, I will say just wait on it. After 6 months, well, maybe after 90 days, actually. After 90 days, if you still have heard nothing, then maybe you can just do an inquiry with USCIS just to find out the status of your case. But 60 days is not something that's a cause for concern after an interview. Sometimes they just do a little bit more investigation or review. And then also, sometimes some officers are slower than others. And they would even tell you, like some officers, when we finish an interview, will tell you, I'm normally slower than other attorneys. Other officers. So don't go calling for an inquiry, if you've not gotten a decision in 30 days, but I'll get it out to you. Okay. Tochuku Eni says, I've got a question. If you receive a notice to submit your medicals, does it mean that things are hopeful and then an interview is closed, or they will likely send you a permanent resident card from RISC? What is the wait time? So here's the thing. Majority of the times right now with interview waivers, if you get a notice to request your medical, the odds are in your favor that you will likely get a permanent residency card without an interview. However, we have gotten some people who got a notice for medical that were still scheduled for an interview, a sprinkle of people. So that's why I would say it's always hard to give 100% because nothing is ever uniform with USCIS, but there's more skewed towards the fact that you might not have an interview than not. Please, why is it taking time for NVC, which is a National Visa Center for Consular Processing, to fix my interview and medicals? My spouse and I filed for spousal visa. Girl, your guess is as good as mine. Or I don't know if it's a girl or a guy. Francis Niger, you might be a female or a male. Well, trust me, if I knew the answer to that, like I would have like so much money. Yeah, I'll be a billionaire or something. Some countries are just so backlogged, and then you have countries where, people purchase interviews, they have the hookup, they purchase interviews, and so it pushes people that are actually waiting on the line further back. So they're just, there's a lot of bureaucracy to it, and it just really depends on the country. Your name says Francis Niger, so I assume that you are in Nigeria or your spouse is in Nigeria, and I can tell you Nigeria is one of those countries that has a really long backlog and is also still recovering from the 2 travel bans that they had in 2020 through 2021, and so there's still just a lot going back. Pink Boss says, good morning. Do you mind, Aisha? I want to give you a call. I'm having some problems. Sure. Call 407-995-6567 and schedule a consultation. Good morning. Can you travel if you get an extension while waiting for removal of conditions? Rumi, yes, you can travel. But one thing I will let you know is that right now, depending on what airport you come in, Customs and Border are being just savage, with people traveling. So technically, while you can travel, you just want to be prepared that there's a possibility that they may call you into secondary inspection and search through your phone or whatever the case. I don't know if you're filing for removal of condition with your spouse or if you're doing a waiver, but those are all things to keep in mind. As long as you have nothing to hide, then you shouldn't worry whether they do secondary inspection or not. But there's a chance that you could get secondary inspection. It doesn't mean they won't let you into the country. It just means that there's a chance that they could just rough you up a little bit. And not necessarily physically, but you get what I'm saying, emotionally. So make sure that when you travel that you're taking your receipt notice, the extension with you, and even your expired card, just so that you can have everything with you showing that your case is pending, okay? Case filed in 2016, 4 interviews and pending review since 2019. Whoa, can I file mandamus? Yes, that is a long time. That is literally what, like 6 years, 7 years? That's crazy. Jackie Charles says, can I apply for a green card for my 17-year-old son? Jackie, you didn't mention what your status is. Are you a green card holder or you're a U.S. citizen? If you're a U.S. citizen, if your 17-year-old is here in the United States, you can do an adjustment of status for him right away. If you're a green card holder and your son is here in the United States, and is out of status, then you can do an I-130. Once the I-130 is approved, if it's approved before he turns 18, then he's going to have to consular process. He doesn't accrue a lawful presence until he turns 18. So unlike some other people who are over 18 that might need a waiver, he will need a waiver as long as he's under 18, assuming he's here. If he's not here, it doesn't matter. You can file a green card application for him, whether you're a citizen or a U.S. Or a green card holder. Sorry. Okay. Well, it says, is it a must to receive a permafoshi before VAWA can be approved? So a lot of times, sometimes people will receive permafoshi determination letters and USCIS will not mail the letter, meaning it's just sitting there. Like I've had clients where we call them, we reached out to USCIS, like, where's the permafoshi? And, you see that the thing was published, printed out, or the letterhead was done. And when they finally sent it to us, it was like 9 months later. So typically you should have one. It's possible that if you've been approved of VAWA or you're going to be approved of VAWA, you should have received a permafoshi, or a permafoshi should have been issued, but maybe you didn't receive it. But typically you should have one. I-360 was approved and we filed for a green card at initial application. How long does it go to get to the green card? Typically about 6 months. 6 months, I would say, on average. Macedonas, good morning. Yes, call me after the live. I haven't heard from you in a long time. This is somebody I consulted with. See, I remember all of you guys. Sometimes, people get on consults and say, oh, I'm this person that was commenting on your posts or commenting on Facebook or YouTube. A lot of times, because you guys all use aliases, so it's hard. And when you speak to me, it's so hard to remember names. But once I meet in a consult and you tell me your name, I usually will look for you on the social media, whatever. Okay, I can only take 2 more questions and I gotta go. Can a marriage-based filing be bypassed for 10-year green card? Absolutely, absolutely. Any eligibility. If your case looks more real than not, where they don't need anything else other than they're doing an interview to fulfill all righteousness, you definitely have a good chance of an interview bypass, whether it's 10 years or 2 years. In fact, we just got one for a client of ours. I haven't received any response after my VAWA since 2020, but I have been getting my permafoshi renewals and EADs. What is the delay? They haven't responded to me now. So let's do 2020, 21, 22, 23. So with a question like this, I have a few follow-up questions. And the 2 follow-up questions I have are: 1, have you ever filed a marriage-based case? That's number 1. And the second question is this your first marriage? Did you get a divorce? If this is not your first marriage, and where did you get divorced? those are typically some of what we see that causes an unusual amount of delay. So if you fall into one of those categories, that's probably what it is. Okay, guys, I do have to jump off, but I'm going to actually try and come on live on Friday around 10-ish. I'm going to check around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I know that there are a lot of questions I didn't get to respond to. So save your questions. Bring it back on Friday. Somebody's asking what my phone number is. It's 407-995-6567. Once I get off this live, it is right there in my profile, or you can click the website to book your consultation directly on there. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye.